Demonstrators gather in Nevada to bring awareness to recent deadly police encounters. Plus, an independent review of the Joplin Police Department gets low marks in a key area. We'll have more on the report. And a motorcycle wreck leaves a Claremore, Oklahoma man dead.
The four states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Zach Dodge. Get outside while you can enjoy the sunny, warm day today because tomorrow we drop down into the low temps again. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
Thank you, Zach. We're going to be talking about anything from sunshine and 70s today down to freeze warnings, winter weather advisories, and frost watches for Tuesday into Wednesday. It's going to be one of those weeks where the roller coaster is going to be everywhere. 39 right now in Joplin, 37 in Independence, just rolled 38 in Lamar. Now, nationally speaking, looking pretty quiet. Still waiting on a low pressure system to roll in, so we know that today is going to be absolutely delightful. We're going to go from high 30s where we are right now all the way up into the low 70s here a little bit later on. Let's talk about these changes that are going to develop, because once they roll in, it is going to be a wicked one here from Tuesday night into Wednesday, where we drop down below the freezing mark. And yes, thine eyes do not deceive thee. We got a chance for even some snow up to the northwest there Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Thanks, Michael. On Sunday, a group of people in Nevada gathered at Earp Park to protest recent lives lost after police encounters. The group wanted to bring attention to this issue to the local community and says although these deaths did not occur in Missouri, they still hope to bring awareness to the local community and spark conversations here.
Even other protests that we've been to or gone to have pretty large turnouts, and I mean with us there's maybe 10 as people are kind of coming and going, but I still think this has such a great impact. One person with a sign is going to attract attention, but when there's a small handful of us, I think it really shows that there is a community here.
Many of the people at this event were in high school or young adults and emphasized the importance of youth involvement to create community change. Last year, Joplin for Justice announced a petition asking the Joplin Police Department for details on past shootings, use of force reports, and hiring practices. At the Joplin for Justice rally Saturday night came the announcement that an independent organization had conducted an external review of the current policies and procedures for the Joplin Police Department.
A policy analysis was completed by 8 Can't Wait, which is an organization that across the nation is evaluating policies and giving a score based on what they find within police departments.
According to the website, 8 Can't Wait is a campaign to bring immediate change to police departments. The website highlights use of force numbers and policies across the country. Joplin wasn't on their website. However, Flake says the report from 8 Can't Wait will be available on the Joplin for Justice Facebook page. According to Flake, the report showed Joplin's policy score was a 12.5 out of a possible 110. Flake says part of the reason for the low score is policies that are out of date. We reached out to the Joplin Police Department about this report. We got this statement in response saying, quote, administration officials with JPD have met with Joplin for Justice members in the past in response to a petition, but to date have not been apprised of a study for findings by their organization. One man is dead following a crash in Rogers County around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say 53-year-old David Horton of Claremore was riding his motorcycle on Oklahoma 66 just north of Claremore when he lost control and crashed. Horton was pronounced dead on the scene. 2 young Missouri women killed nearly a decade apart. This week, Kyle Yost, described by prosecutors as having had romantic and abusive relationships with both, was convicted, but on different counts. Matt Flinner has some of Friday's emotional testimony during the jury sentencing recommendation phase.
2 young girls, Cara Kopetsky and Jessica Runyons, remembered. Cara's mom, Rhonda Beckford, on the stand talking about the verdict.
To be technical, I don't really feel like justice was served where Cara is concerned. because I believe that he will do this again given the chance. I am so sorry, Cara. I tried.
Kopetsky's father saying she would call him late at night, talking for 30 minutes.
I never understood how precious those moments were to me until they were gone.
For all the searching, for 14 years, Cara's family paid her cell phone bill every month, never giving up hope.
If you were to check the phone records today, you'll see that I called it on Sunday night just to hear that one little wisp of her voice.
As for Jessica Runyons,
every time she walked in a room, she had this smile. She had this personality that everybody who was near her was like, they gravitate.
I don't get to walk my daughter down the aisle and see her be married and be a mother. Our family is broken forever.
Yustwick was convicted of voluntary manslaughter in the death of Cara Kopetsky, with the jury recommending 15 years in prison. In Jessica Runyon's death, the jury convicted Yust of murder in the second degree, a life in prison recommendation. Sentencing for Yust is June 7th. The Better Business Bureau is warning against a scam involving sheds. Stephanie Garland with the BBB says a Carthage woman was scammed out of $99 in an online purchase scam. The woman purchased the shed for what she thought was a great deal on the shed, but it never arrived.
But there's more people than ever online, and scammers are taking advantage of that. Better Business Bureau knows that about 30% of these scams that people fell for last year was online purchase scam. So this is a serious issue, and this is something that we want people to watch out for.
Garland says it's important to always do research on websites before you make a purchase. It's 5:07.
High 30s in the 4 states right now, and eventually all the way up into the low 70s this afternoon. Great looking Monday. And man, do we have some changes a-coming. Here's what Future Track has in store. Huge cold front is going to roll in tonight. It is going to bring us a mix of rain and snow for Tuesday morning. Turns back into rain for the afternoon hours. Coldest temperatures we're going to see of the week. Those are going to be early Wednesday morning and are bringing us not only frost advisories, but also freeze warnings for most of the 4 states until early Wednesday. Zach?
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, alleviating allergy symptoms.
Seasonal allergies. I'm Famey Redwood with a possible solution that does not involve medicine.
Plus, Missouri Southern faces Northeastern over the weekend for second place in the MIAA. And the price of pre-owned cars is going up. How the pandemic led to a spike in used car demand. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Missouri Southern took to the field yesterday to finish up a 3-game series against Northeastern State. 2 teams split a pair of games on Saturday. That kept the Riverhawks in second place in the MIAA standings. Lions right behind them in third place. So with the Lions win, they could claim that second place spot. Southern trailing in the second. 2 outs, runners on base. Matt Miller. Yeah, bring him in. Down in the right field corner. Clay Milas and Dexter Swim score. We got ourselves a tie ball game. C.D. White for the Riverhawks will untie this. Solo shot to right field. Northeastern comes back, takes the lead in the 6th. Now it's 8-6 Riverhawks. 2 on for Tommy Steve. Walk off, Tommy Stevenson. Just walk off. Stevenson wins it for the Lions. Missouri Southern grinds out the 10-9 win. Speaking of MIAA standings, PSU right there in the mix for the 4th place spot. Gorillas split a doubleheader on Saturday against the Jets. Pitt State looking for another win against Newman yesterday. Top of the 3rd, John Kufall. Rips one to center. That brings home Hayden Vanderpool. Jets lead by 1. Pitt State with the response though, Cruz Aranda. I'll find some open green grass down in right field. That's good enough for a triple. Aaron Gerda scores. Then on the wild pitch, here comes Aranda. He trots home as the Gorillas take the lead. In the fourth, Jurtis up the middle. Get you seeing eye single right there. Caleb Carr not stopping from second. He heads home and scores. Gorillas take the final game of the series, win it 5-1. Crowder College taking a 28-game winning streak into the final week or so of the regular season. Rough Riders 36-4 after beating Metropolitan twice on the road earlier this week. Yesterday, Crowder hosting the Wolves for yet another doubleheader. In game number one, Rough Riders keep the streak alive, win it 7-5. Trey Harris and Rod Chris both drive in 2 runs apiece. Game two, survey says Rough Riders looking for a sweep. Logan Chambers gonna stay in the park, but is good enough for a triple. Then Josh Patrick put the ball in play, good things happen. RBI ground out. Chambers walks in for the tying run. Bottom of the fourth, 2 outs, bases loaded. Jack Stroth. Unload them, Mr. Stroth. Unload them, sir. Wolves would add another run. Max Pitts gonna cruise in. Crowder does it again. They win this thing 12-4 and the win streak rolls on. Lady Riders in action on the road against Jefferson. Crowder and Jefferson met once already this season. Rough Riders hosted the Vikings in March and split a doubleheader. In game one, Lady Riders keep the Vikings off the board, win it 6-0. And then Crowder comes up with the sweep, ranked number 19 in the nation. The final score of game two, 14-4. Coffeyville football 1-1 to start the spring season as the Red Ravens coming off their first win over Dodge City and did so on the road. Traveling again to face Highland, and the Red Ravens shut them out 30-0. Quarterback Colby Lange, he aired it out to Corterius Wills for a 75-yard touchdown in this one. Coffeyville also with a few rushing TDs and a safety. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a final salute to Prince Philip.
A heartbreaking farewell to Britain's Prince Philip. I'm Ian Lee at Windsor Castle with how the Queen and country said goodbye.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Just now getting ready to roll past 5:17 on this Monday morning. Live look outside of Television City, 39 degrees, so it is a little bit chilly outside. We even have a wind chill in effect, where it only feels like 35. 39's in Joplin and Neosho. Let's go 36 in Neodesha and 37, 39 in Fort Scott and Nevada, respectively. Skywatch Storm Tracker, remember that blue that we see early in the morning, that's just a little residual picked up by the sweeping radar. No cloud cover and no precipitation for us to worry about. Here's what we will keep our eyes on. We'll do that from the Skywatch Weather Center. You get out and enjoy what's going to be a gorgeous Monday, but this system, with the snow, with the accompanying snow, is simply going to drop straight to the southeast and eventually bring us some very, very cold middle of the week temperatures. But we get started off certainly on the right foot. We're going to go from the high 30s to what we're seeing right now into the low 70s this afternoon with a whole bunch of sunshine and hardly a cloud to worry about. As far as our wind goes, it'll come out of the southeast and we'll experience some gusts of about 20 miles per hour. Overnight, hello cold front, here we go. All right, partly cloudy as it begins to roll in and going to usher us in some snow and some rain. So that's the system we were talking about that's up on the about Big Sky country right now. As it begins and gets here, we're not looking at anything too severe as far as accumulation numbers go. But it's been a while since we've been through this, so let's all plan on giving ourselves a little extra time to get to your destination. We've got rain on the leading edge, and then it turns to snow as the temperatures just continually drop all the way through the afternoon hour, just about down to the freezing mark, and then it turns back into rain there on the backside before it departs out to the east. This is going to be our coldest day of the week. Early Wednesday morning is when we're really going to feel it, and so no surprise that we've got freeze watches, freeze warnings indicated in dark purple, the turquoise being the freeze watch, and even winter weather advisories stretching up to our northwest. So that's the one where we were talking about. Watch this thing just drop right down on us. It stays together pretty well. You know, a lot of times we'll see it break up as it gets into Nebraska, portions of northern Kansas. Not so much the case with this one. On the 7-day forecast, well, going to be chilly there the rest of the week, so Got 2 days, especially Monday night into Tuesday night into Wednesday. Watch out for the plants especially. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. As people fled New York City for the space and solitude of the suburbs over the past year, competition for cars became fierce. Richard Giacovis has more on how that and the lockdown led to a sudden and massive jump in the price of used cars.
For Augie DeFeo, the car business is like a game of football.
You take what the defense gives you, and the defense in this case is the manufacturer.
And the manufacturer hasn't been delivering. As president of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and White Plains, Augie says pandemic car buyers have been scooping up pre-owned vehicles way more than new cars.
Once you move into the suburbs, you need a car. So that's the needing of a car has created a need for used cars.
It's not only here at this dealership. Across the country, the prices of used cars have been shooting up. According to car experts, used car prices in the United States were up more than 26% from March 2020. Augie says there are a number of reasons why.
When you have parts manufacturers that are down, obviously you can't build a car. It creates a shortage of new cars, which put an additional emphasis on pre-owned cars.
In turn, that puts a shortage on used cars, which hikes up the prices, says Augie. Economists agree that this surge is going to stick around.
Most of the great safety and technology features that have been introduced over the last decade are now pretty much fully available on the used vehicles. So there's not a big trade-off between the used and new market like there was several years ago.
Augie says buying a used car may have been appealing pre-pandemic, but now in a COVID world with the deals not being so good, he says you might as well go for the new car. And instead of buying, you're better off leasing. And you can't beat the smell of a new car. Now back to that football analogy, it may be best to follow Augie's advice, at least through summer.
You take the run when they give you, and you take the pass when they give you the pass. So don't force the issue. Take what's on the table. Take the best thing that's being offered.
Question to you on the Insta poll and our Facebook page. If you buy new or used, and how often do you trade them in? Leave us some comment on Facebook or take part in our Insta poll. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. Zach coming back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, about 25 million Americans suffer from seasonal allergies. But some are reporting they feel better than they have in previous seasons, and doctors think a COVID prevention measure could be behind the relief. Famie Redwood has more.
Ben and Sherry Rosen's seasonal allergies are so severe, their plans often revolve around the daily pollen count.
Eyes are very itchy. Sometimes it's even hard to breathe.
Sneezing, coughing, and I also have allergic asthma as well.
But the couple says they've noticed some changes this spring.
It's hard for me to speak sometimes just because the allergies are so bad, and I haven't had any of that so far this year.
Some studies suggest mask wearing may be playing a role in alleviating allergy symptoms. Israeli researchers looked at data on nurses who wore masks for 2 weeks. 40% with severe allergies reported less symptoms when they wore a mask. 54% with mild allergies said they felt symptoms improved.
It almost acts like a barrier between you and the pollen when you're outside. It can even protect against indoor allergens if you wear a mask indoors while you're working or what have you, dust mites, mold.
Dr. Purvi Parikh from the Allergy and Asthma Network says she tells patients to change clothes and shower to avoid bringing pollen into the house. So the same thing applies for masks.
You don't want to keep putting that same mask that might have pollen on it on your face every day. You should be washing your mask frequently regardless.
Ben and Sherry say even a little bit of relief is a good thing.
I don't know if the mask has contributed to it, but I know overall I feel like I've had much less allergy attacks than I've had in past years.
The couple makes sure to take their medications and also gets allergy and asthma shots to help. Famie Redwood, CBS News.
Another way to reduce allergy symptoms is to wear sunglasses to block allergens like pollen from getting in your eyes. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We'll roll sunrise at 6:38 on this Monday morning. Despite the fact that we have temperatures in the high 30s right now, we're going to make it into the low 70s here later on this afternoon. Big changes are coming for tonight into tomorrow. There's a massive cold front lingering up to our northwest, and it is going to push straight down on us. That's going to be a little April rain snow mix that's going to roll through into Tuesday night. We got frost advisories and freeze warnings for Monday night or Tuesday night into Wednesday morning.
Demonstrators gather in Nevada to bring awareness to recent deadly police encounters. Plus, an independent review of the Joplin Police Department gets low marks in a key area. We'll have more on the report. And a motorcycle wreck leaves a Claremore, Oklahoma man dead.
The 4 States' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Zach Dodge in for Tanya Bach. Get outside while you can. Enjoy the sunny, warm day today because tomorrow we drop down into the low temps again. Here's Michael with a check of your forecast.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Live look outside of Television City. 39 degrees right now. A little bit of a wind chill in effect. Only feels like it's 35. But a clean Skywatch storm tracker. Remember, we get those early in the morning. It's just the old residual being picked up by the sweeping radar. 39 in Carthage, 41 right now in Chanute. Yates Center getting up to 41 as well. Let's roll 39 down in Neosho and 36 in Miami. That's what we're keeping our eyes on. Don't let it dissuade you from having a marvelous Monday, though, as everything is going to drop down to the northeast. We're going to have a good-looking beginning to our work week with temperatures. Whole bunch of sunshine and temperatures all the way up into the low 70s. Now, overnight, here's when that front begins to drop down on us. And once it does, these temperatures, number one, are going to plummet. Number two, yes, we are going to get a little rain-snow mix in time for Tuesday morning. Not looking at anything big accumulation-wise, but it does last until the afternoon as our temperatures plummet straight down into the 20s for Wednesday morning. And that's why this freeze watch not in effect right now. It will take effect tomorrow night and last into Wednesday morning. So once again, it's going to be watching out for the plants. 7-day forecast setting up for a cold one this week. Today is the only day where we get close to normal. Overnight lows down into the 30s, if not high 20s there as we progress toward Thursday.
I'm going to need you to stop talking about snow on Tuesday.
So let's go ahead and peel back the curtain. During the commercial break, Zach had some disdain, and folks, he's the nicest person we have in the newsroom. And he simply looks over at me and he goes, "Stop talking about snow on Tuesday."
I'm not looking forward to it at all. That's crazy.
I'm not either, especially coming off of, what really turned out to be a pretty nice Sunday. Saturday a little chilly, but I mean, Sunday, we got some peak sunshine and everything. We're looking at 70 today. And that's why it's deceiving when you see anything from winter weather advisories up to the far northwest.
Definitely. But thanks for the check of the forecast, Michael. On Sunday, a group of people in Nevada gathered at Earp Park to protest recent lives lost after police encounters. The group wanted to bring attention to this issue to the local community and says although these deaths did not occur in Missouri, they still hope to bring awareness to the local community and spark conversations here.
Even other protests that we've been to or gone to have pretty large turnouts, and I mean with us there's maybe 10 as people are kind of coming and going, but I still think this has such a great impact. One person with a sign is going to attract attention, but when there's a small handful of us, I think it really shows that there is a community here.
Many of the people at this event were in high school or young adults and emphasized the importance of youth involvement to create community change. At the Joplin for Justice rally Saturday night came the announcement that the organization 8 Can't Wait conducted an external review of the current policies and procedures of the Joplin Police Department. According to its website, 8 Can't Wait is a campaign to bring immediate change to police departments. The website highlights use of force numbers and policies across the country. Joplin wasn't on their website. However, Dola Flake says the report from 8 Can't Wait will be available on the Joplin for Justice Facebook page. According to Flake, the report showed Joplin's policy score was a 12.5 out of a possible 110. Flake says part of the reason for the low score is policies that are out of date. We reached out to the Joplin Police Department about this report. We got this statement in response saying, quote, Administration officials with JPD have met with Joplin for Justice members in the past in response to a petition, but to date have not been apprised of a study for findings by their organization. One man is dead following a crash in Rogers County around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say 53-year-old David Horton of Claremore was riding his motorcycle on Oklahoma 66 just north of Claremore when he lost control and crashed. Horton was pronounced dead on the scene. And the Spiva Center for the Arts is mourning the loss of its former executive director, Mary Jo Mueller. Jo, as she was known to the center and many in the area, was the director for 12 years before retiring in 2015 and expanding Spiva's membership base, community outreach, and a number of other programs. The center says Jo will be lovingly remembered for her smile and laugh, her grace, and her abounding love for the arts. As we continue connecting communities in our area, we return to Joplin and Joplin's Mayor, Ryan Stanley. We had an opportunity to chat with him about the city's response and the community's response to the pandemic over the past year. The mask mandates implemented by the city were a point of heated discussion and debate among residents. Mayor Stanley says that was a good thing, knowing there was an even balance of people for and against the mandate. Looking back, Mayor Stanley says he wished they had set up the ordinances differently.
I think the smarter move would have been push it out into the future as far as possible and then rescind it whenever the timing is right to rescind it. That's one thing I wish we would have done the first mask ordinance. The second one that came in November, obviously we put out till the end of February, and we tried to put it in as long as we possibly thought we could to feel like when it expired it was going to be an okay time for it to expire.
Then comes the lockdown, when communities across the nation began to shut down, which eventually included Joplin. There's been debate on whether or not the nationwide lockdowns were done too early before the coronavirus really began to sweep across the nation. While Missouri led the charge for its communities, Mayor Stanley wishes things could have been done differently.
I think that if I could redo anything, I would not have sheltered in place in March or in April into May. But also, the state was kind of taking us that direction, so we were along for that ride. I would have done that at a different time if we were going to do it. I almost might have argued that we wouldn't have done it if I could be hindsight 2020.
As we're entering what many hope are the final hurdles of the pandemic as vaccines continue to roll out to those who want and life slowly starts to look a little more like normal, Mayor Stanley says he's proud of how the Joplin community, how the citizens have responded to the pandemic, and how adaptable they've been to the ever-changing situation.
This was a challenging scenario. I think Joplin handled it fine. Our numbers are improving and we're moving in the right direction. Our vaccination numbers are some of the highest in the state, which is really impressive. I would have been surprised if you would have told me 3 months ago that our vaccination numbers were going to be leading the state, but they are.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, we hear from Congressman Jake LaTurner about his recent visit to the border. Plus, a look at the final salute to Prince Philip at Windsor Castle over the weekend. We'll have the details, but first, it's 5:37.
Waiting on our warm-up here, and it's going to be delightful once the sun rises at 6:38 and lifts us up into the low 70s. Great looking Monday in store. Get ready for Tuesday. The rain and the snow, they are coming. That's right, rain and snow. Massive cold front. Coldest time of the week is going to be early Wednesday morning. We'll be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, Britain said farewell to Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip. The 99-year-old royal was laid to rest Saturday at Windsor Castle. CBS's Ian Lee is there.
A final salute at Windsor Castle. Britain's armed forces said goodbye to one of their own. Prince Philip planned every detail of his funeral with military precision, down to the custom-made Land Rover that carried his coffin draped in his flag, navy cap, and sword.
We have been inspired by his unwavering loyalty to our Queen.
The Duke of Edinburgh leaves behind 4 children and 8 grandchildren, including Princes William and Harry. There's been tension between the brothers since Harry and Meghan's bombshell interview with Oprah, but the death of their grandfather brought them back together. Music from a small, socially distanced choir filled the chapel of 30 guests, mostly close relatives. Since Windsor Castle sits right in the flight path of London's busy Heathrow Airport, during the funeral, all planes were diverted away from the area out of respect. The palace asked people to stay away too, but many still came to remember the royal.
He could put people at their ease when he talked to them, always made a joke.
The nation fell silent to mark the passing of a man who was always by the Queen's side. Now, for the first time in her nearly 70 years on the throne, she stands alone. Ian Lee, CBS News, Windsor, England.
Prince Philip is buried in the Royal Vault at St. George's Chapel alongside the remains of 24 other royals, including 3 kings of England. Police raided an illegal weapons factory in Spain. Among the weapons seized from the 3D Weapons Workshop were a replica assault rifle, small arms, several gun barrels, 2 tasers, and a machete. Police also found 9 magazines, 2 silencers, 2 pieces for rifle barrels, and a plastic mold to make triggers and other smaller parts for weapons. The owner of the shop was taken into custody and charged with illegal possession of weapons and explosives. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Now let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Zach. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll across the country, price of used cars shooting up. Our question to you is, do you buy new or used, and how often do you trade them in? Dave Sorick says, my last trades were due to our changing needs in technology. Dave wanted rear view cameras for safety and for convenience. Michael Arrowwood says, get a new car every 8 years. Tornadoes are the cause of them. Have a blessed Monday, everyone. You as well, Michael. Rocky Cunningham drives a 93 Toyota pickup. Never had a new vehicle. Don't believe I'd want one. I need to be able to work and afford my vehicles. We all love you, Aunt Pat. Guy Hansen, just listed, used Tesla, never driven, cheap. That's not a used Tesla that Guy has for sale. KOAM News Now Insta poll this morning. Right now, 69% of you say you buy those vehicles used. You can make your voice heard. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We'll come back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Dr. Anthony Fauci is indicating the government is likely to resume use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine this week. The Center for Disease Control advisors plan to meet Friday to discuss the pause in the J&J shot after several women suffered rare blood clotting, with one dying. The CDC now says half of all American adults have received at least one COVID vaccine dose. The prosecution and defense are set to deliver closing arguments today in the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis. Then jurors will decide if Chauvin is guilty of murder for the death of George Floyd last May. During 3 weeks of testimony, the jury heard from 45 witnesses. And on Sunday, a group of people in Nevada, Missouri gathered at Earp Park to protest recent lives lost after police encounters. The group wanted to bring attention to this issue to the local community and says although these deaths did not occur in Missouri, they still hope to bring awareness to the local community and spark conversations here. Remembrance Saturday evening, Joplin for Justice hosted a rally at 7th and Rangeline to bring awareness to the death of Dante Wright. Wright was the 20-year-old man who was fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop in a Minneapolis suburb. Joplin for Justice says this local protest was meant to bring awareness to racial injustices in the country and show how Joplin can make changes locally. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Going to have a Monday with plenty of sunshine and temperatures up into the low 70s, so quite a change from what we're experiencing right now. We're mainly high 30s. We're headed there. And speaking of big changes, how about what develops overnight, as we've got a big cold front that's going to drop in. And once it does, we are not only going to see some rain, oh no, we're going to see the rain-snow mix on Tuesday. Here it comes down. It'll end up with freeze watches, not a whole lot of accumulation, but it's going to be bitterly cold Wednesday morning down into the 20s. Cool temperatures for the rest of the 7-day forecast with chances of rain sticking around all the way to Saturday. Back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News this morning. Kind enough to be joined by United States House of Representatives of Kansas 2nd District, Jake LaTurner. Jake, a Pittsburgh State grad and Galena native. Jake, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the election. I want to jump into some political conversation here. You just came back from a trip to the Texas-Mexico border. You made several trips, as a matter of fact. Explain to us exactly, number one, why you made the trip. Number two, the exploration and the fact-finding mission that you brought back with you.
One of the most important jobs I have here in Congress is serving on the Homeland Security Committee. And there's no greater issue facing our country today than the southern border. You can see it on TV, you can read about it, but you don't really understand it until you're down there and see it with your own eyes. It is absolutely a crisis. I interacted with young unaccompanied children that have just gone through weeks of travel with drug smugglers. The drug cartels get paid every time there's a border crossing illegally. They control the Mexican side of the border so well that you have to pay them to get across. And so children are going through a terrible, harrowing journey.
Okay, so Congressman, with that being on the board right there, you were elected by constituents to provide answers to these, solutions to these. Where do we go from here then, down to the southern border?
Well, what President Biden did on the day of his inauguration was halt border construction, the wall. I saw millions of dollars worth of equipment and materials sitting there rusting, waiting to be built. Congress, a bipartisan Congress, supported building sections of the wall that Joe Biden stopped. We have to start the construction. Talk to any Border Patrol agent along the southern border. They will tell you that walls work.
Okay, President Biden signed the executive order there. So tell me, as a member of the House of the United States Representatives, what is your next course of action?
Our next course of action is to do two things. One, we need to appropriate the funds that the Border Patrol needs. We need to make sure that they have the resources. They need more manpower. They need more equipment. They're being asked to do jobs that they were never trained to do. They're being asked to be social workers right now in many instances. They are detaining these unaccompanied children. And meanwhile, we have the drug cartels slipping fentanyl, methamphetamines across the southern border. We need President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to go to the border and see this for themselves. We've got to give the Border Patrol resources they need, and we need to start the border wall construction immediately.
As part of that Department of Homeland Security Committee, what are the recommendations that you're sending forward to not only your own part of Congress, but the Senate and to the White House?
Three things. We need to start the border wall construction immediately. We need to give the Border Patrol the resources that they need, the manpower, the equipment, and the facilities. And we need to make certain that we have enough immigration judges, so there aren't these long backlogs where we tell people here's a court date, and guess what? They never show up for it. We are having a lot of border crossings that are a big problem, and it's not just the unaccompanied children. It'll break your heart what these kids are going through. They're being endangered by the drug cartels. But we also have, while the Border Patrol is being overwhelmed by the unaccompanied children and families, we have the drug cartel crossing our borders. They're wearing military gear. There's instances of kidnappings, murders. We have to get control of our southern border.
Congressman Jake LaTurner, United States House of Representatives from Kansas's 2nd District. Congressman, I want to thank you for joining us. Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about another White House announcement with the congressman concerning the troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Wind chills in the 30s. give it some time, because after sunrise arrives at 6:38, we're going to be all the way up into the 70s later on this afternoon. Little southeast breeze, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Going to get some gusts of about 20 to 25. Here's the big thing that's coming. We got a cold front hanging up to our northwest, and it's going to progress toward us just in time for Tuesday morning. And when it does arrive, we're going to see a little wintry April mix. Some rain on the leading edge and some light snow coming down throughout the morning hours. Turns back into rain on the backside. Look how cold it's going to be on Tuesday too. Keep on going down. We're going to be in the 20s there Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning is going to be our coldest time of the week. No surprise then that we've got freeze watches indicated there in the turquoise. Even winter weather advisories up in the far northwest section of the 4 states. Not much of a change temperature-wise. We're going to be consistently below our average high of 71 all the way into the weekend. And of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Demonstrators gather in Nevada to bring awareness to recent deadly police encounters. Plus, an independent review of the Joplin Police Department gets low marks in a key area. We'll have more on the report. And a motorcycle wreck leaves a Claremore, Oklahoma man dead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Zach Dodge in for Tanya Bach. So today it's supposed to be really nice and then shift to not so nice into Tuesday. Is that right, Michael?
That is the long and short of it, Zach Dodge. You hit the nail on the head right there. Let's take a live look outside of Television City. Lost our wind chill right there and made it up to 41 degrees. So already headed there in the right direction. Clean Skywatch storm tracker. Remember, the blue just comes off the sweeping radar, but we're going to talk about a little white and blue that's headed our way here by the time we get into Tuesday. Now that we've got Joplin and Chanute at 41, Carthage and Monette joining the club as well, 34 in Miami, 37 in both Fort Scott and Nevada. So while we'll have warmer temperatures that move out of the south today, that's the low pressure system we're going to keep our eyes on as it's going to sink down into the Rockies and then just blast us with a shot of extremely cold air for tomorrow morning. That being said, we still get up into the low 70s today. It's going to be absolutely great this afternoon. So here's what Future Track has in store. You can see everything developing up to the northwest, and as it moves through Tuesday morning, it's not only bringing us some rain on the front side, but some light snow throughout the morning hours, transitioning back into rain as we move through the afternoon, and then eventually pushing off to the east. But look at these temperatures for Wednesday morning. My goodness. So we've got freeze watches until 9 a.m. on Wednesday for all our counties indicated in turquoise. And even after the wintry mix rolls through on Tuesday, we've still got chilly temperatures and shots for rain all the way into the weekend.
I'm going to have to break out my coat again for Tuesday and Wednesday morning. And it's April.
Zach is not happy the fact that I keep on talking about snow coming tomorrow morning. I apologize.
Yeah. Thank you, though. A group consisting of mostly high school students gathered in Nevada to bring awareness to people who have recently lost their lives during police encounters. KOAM's Bronte Saratsky spoke with protesters on the impact of young people's involvement in creating change.
Demonstrators with signs reading "No Justice, No Peace," and how many more could be seen while driving alongside Earp Park in Nevada Sunday afternoon. Their goal, to bring awareness to those who have recently lost their lives during police encounters.
One thing that we need to bring attention to is that this entire brutality thing is terrible. It's there's the hate in this area, and just we can't do that, right? If we have nothing except love, and that's what we need to be focusing on.
Although recent deaths that have garnered national attention haven't been in this area, organizers say there's still importance in talking about them in Missouri.
So it's a message here saying, guys, we need to be focusing on this because this is an issue. This is an issue in our great state of Missouri, and it's an issue that we don't want in Nevada, Missouri, and we don't want it in the surrounding areas either.
Many people who came out today were in high school or young adults.
When it comes down to it, it's really important that we get the youth involved, and I'm so proud to see younger people in our community step out for what they believe in and show compassion for others.
Especially when the young people start talking, the older people start listening, and that's the main thing that we need to focus on. Is if these older folks can just hear us out a little bit, we'll be able to make actual change.
They say protests like these have engaged conversations in the community that otherwise may not have happened.
That this has an impact on the community that is extremely positive. We saw within our last protest that bringing out this strong opinion of compassion and love towards each other, it started all of these conversations, and we loved being able to see people come out and ask these difficult questions, for some of them for the first time. And so we're hoping to continue that conversation.
Through listening to the community's youth and creating discussions, the group out today aimed to create more unity within their town. In Nevada, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Organizers say although some people in the community may not be happy with their event, they didn't want speaking on these issues to be treated as a trend, which is why they continue to bring awareness. At the Joplin for Justice rally Saturday night came the announcement that the organization 8 Can't Wait conducted an external review of the current policies and procedures of the Joplin Police Department. According to its website, 8 Can't Wait is a campaign to bring immediate change to police departments. The website highlights use of force numbers and policies across the country. Joplin wasn't on the website. However, Dola Flake with Joplin for Justice says the report from 8 Can't Wait will be available on their Facebook page. According to Flake, the report showed Joplin's policy score was a 12.5 out of a possible 110. Flake says part of the reason for the low score is policies that are out of date. We reached out to the Joplin Police Department about this report. We got this statement in response saying, quote, administration officials with JPD have met with Joplin for Justice members in the past in response to a petition, but to date have not been apprised of a study for findings by their organization. And take a look at this. Nevada Highway Patrol got a little surprise Sunday morning. A family of geese was trying to cross the highway. This is video of one trooper helping to move the geese along. No one was hurt, and the geese were safely escorted off the highway. Thanks to Nevada Highway Patrol for this video. One man is dead following a crash in Rogers County around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say 53-year-old David Horton of Claremore was riding his motorcycle on Oklahoma 66 just north of Claremore when he lost control and crashed. Horton was pronounced dead on the scene. A local farm is offering tours of its facilities to local residents. Well, when we say facilities, we really mean assets, as the tour showcased alpacas at the farm in East Joplin. Kids and adults alike had an opportunity Saturday to learn about what it takes to take care of the alpacas and interact with them. There were also fleece samples available and products made from fleece, and most importantly, an opportunity to take selfies with the alpacas.
Oh, we enjoy it. We like to watch the kids interact with the alpacas. They seem to enjoy it. Well, it's been fun. It's been a lot of work keeping up with stuff, keeping up with all the alpacas. We had shearing yesterday, which in the rain, which was quite an ordeal, but it got done.
Guests were asked to practice social distancing along the tours, which lasted 45 minutes. It's 6:07.
And we've got a little bit of light creeping over the satellite arrays there at Television City. And so our temperatures beginning to already warm up. And by the time we get to the afternoon, we're talking about low 70s. It's going to be a great looking Monday. But remember, it's a coming for us, and it's going to be here tomorrow morning. It is a big cold front with a huge shot of cold air. And not only that, a little rain-snow mix in mid-April. Whoo! Look at this for Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Yeah, that's why we've got the frost warnings lasting all the way to Wednesday at 9 a.m. Zach?
That's a look at our top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we continue with Congressman Jake LaTurner and his opinion on the troops leaving Afghanistan. Plus, U.S. health officials are laying out a plan to combat the highly contagious virus variants that are sweeping through the U.S. And the pandemic has created a new use for robots in the medical field, but there's a new focus on lifelike features. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, science fiction is one step closer to reality. The pandemic has created new uses for robots, and some are becoming more lifelike than ever. Elise Preston reports.
I'm Sophia of Hanson Robotics, one of the first androids in the world.
Sophia may be one of the first, but will soon have company. Hanson Robotics created the android in 2016 and has been improving the technology.
I've been very worried about COVID-19 lately.
Sophia can now carry on a conversation.
You get sad, don't you?
Has a range of facial expressions and can offer a high five. The robot even made news recently for creating artwork that sold for nearly $700,000.
Now we have begun scaling the manufacturing of Sophia so we can make hundreds and into thousands of units.
But the founder of Hanson Robotics is not creating more artists.
I will take your temperature reading and pulse with this little thermal camera on my chest.
The machines are being designed to work as healthcare aids.
Robots like me can help take care of the sick or elderly.
Robots are being utilized in new ways during the pandemic, from disinfecting public areas to delivering food in a restaurant. But there's a new focus on lifelike features. The Russian company Promobot is creating machines that can work in customer service alongside human counterparts. This one responds to voice commands and helps process applications. There are about 10 in use at various locations. This customer says she blinks, so that's a bit scary, but it's generally cool. The robots cost upwards of $42,000, while the makers point out they never need a lunch break or vacation. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
A federal safety agency is telling some consumers to stop using Peloton's treadmill. The announcement comes after more than 36 incidents of small children and one pet being injured. Peloton announced last month that a child died due to an accident with its Tread Plus. The company says there's no reason to stop using its treadmill, and in an email to users, its CEO said a safety update is on the way to prevent the machine from turning on without an access code. The Clydesdales want to buy you a beer. Budweiser is the latest company to encourage people to get vaccinated with a freebie, joining Sam Adams and Krispy Kreme. Be one of the first 10,000 people to send a picture of your vaccinated sticker or Band-Aid, and Budweiser will give you a $5 virtual debit card. And Adidas has released a new sneaker made from mushrooms. The Stan Smith Milo was created in partnership with biotechnology company Bolt Threads. Milo is made from renewable mycelium, which is the underground roots of mushrooms. Adidas says it's a soft and supple, similar to leather. The outer upper parts of the sneaker, the perforated 3 stripes, and the premium branding are all made with Milo. The midsole of the shoe is made with natural rubber. And that's it for Money Watch. Now let's toss it over to Michael with a look at the weather.
Walking around on shrooms, huh? I love that, Zach. Weather almanac for today. This will be the one day of the week where we get close to our average high of 71 on this April 19th because we've got a big cold front on the way. It's still a little chilly outside as we've made it up to 41 degrees outside of Television City. Pittsburgh sits at 37, Miami 34. We got Chinook, Carthage, Monette, Cassville all being able to make it just above the 40-degree mark. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we are clean and clear as a bell, so now the sun can begin to take effect. Officially, sunrise is going to be at 6:38. This is what we're eyeballing for Tuesday right there. Big low pressure system right now coming out of big sky country. It's going to take a little southerly drip and then come southeast right through us for Tuesday mornings. Get out and take advantage of what's a great, great looking Monday. All the way up into the low 70s with a little southeast breeze. We'll have some gusts of 20 miles per hour. That's not too bad for this time of year. And then overnight, temperature is going to drop as we're going to get a rain-snow mix. That's right, for April 20th, a rain-snow mix going to make its way through for the morning hours. It shouldn't affect travel too much, but let's all give ourselves a couple extra minutes on the front side of it. I'm just not used to driving. It's been a while since we've had to go through anything like this. Turns back into rain for the afternoon hours, and temperatures just extremely cold for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So no surprise that we have a freeze watch for our counties in turquoise lasting all the way into Wednesday. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, remember we talked about that average high being 71 for this time of year? Ooh, no. We're going to have to wait till Sunday to get even close as the cool temperatures remain in the 50s as we press toward the weekend. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Kind enough this morning to be joined by Congressman Jake LaTurner. He represents Kansas's 2nd District, and Jake, a member of the United States House of Representatives. Congressman, I'd like to talk about President Biden's recent announcement of withdrawing troops from Afghanistan, all troops, he says, by September 11th of this year. Certainly a monumental date. What is the take? You represent the Department of Homeland Security. I kind of want to talk internationally here. What are your thoughts on complete troop withdrawal?
Americans are ready for these endless wars to be over. We have been in Afghanistan for almost 20 years now. And it is something that the American people are hungry to end, and you've seen a bipartisan effort to do it. The Trump administration negotiated an earlier date. I wish the Biden administration could have stuck with that, and I'm hoping that they'll keep their word. It's time to bring our troops home. We cannot be the policemen for the world. As you see on our southern border, we have issues that we have to deal with right here and right now.
Congressman, you know the obvious question, the vacuum that's going to lead for insurgents and also instability in the Middle East. What do you have to say about complete troop withdrawal when it comes to that measure as far as United States interests?
We are never going to stop monitoring the area. We are never going to stop having a cyber presence to make sure that we are keeping the homeland safe. And you have to keep in mind, wherever we retract in the world, China expands. And so we have to be a check on China. We have to make sure that we are being an ally to Israel and our friends in the Middle East. The list is actually growing thanks to the Trump administration. And we need to be certain that we don't allow terrorism to take root and to grow there. At the same time, we cannot continue to police the world. This war has gone on for too long. It's time to bring the troops home.
Congressman, I know you have a vote to get to, and I want to thank you for your time this morning. Once again, Jake LaTurner, United States House of Representatives from Kansas's 2nd District, a native of Galena and a Pittsburgh State University graduate. Congressman, thank you very much. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, when it comes to COVID-19, nearly half of all infections in the U.S. are caused by a highly contagious virus variant, according to White House officials. That's why the U.S. is now laying out a plan to combat those variants. Mandy Gaither has more.
Even as we accelerate our efforts to get shots in arms, more dangerous variants are growing.
As the war against COVID-19 continues, the U.S. is hoping a new effort will help.
Today, we are announcing a $1.7 billion investment to bolster the ability of the CDC and state and local public health departments to monitor, track, and defeat emerging threats.
Right now, officials say highly contagious virus variants account for nearly half of all COVID-19 cases in the U.S., increasing the urgency to identify and track those mutations. Through genomic sequencing, officials aim to do just that.
The increasing trends in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are very concerning, and they threaten the progress we've already made.
According to the CDC, the U.S.'s 7-day COVID case average is up, nearly 70,000 new cases a day. Hospitalizations are 5 to 8% higher than they were in the prior 7-day period as well. And for a third day in a row, average daily deaths have gone up to more than 700 a day. Relaxed public health measures and virus variants are being blamed for the increases. Some of the variants are believed to be 50 to 70% more transmissible,
which makes the race to stop the transmission even more challenging and threatens to overwhelm our healthcare system again in parts of this country.
By identifying the variants earlier, officials hope to slow the spread. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. is also funding a system that will make it easier to share and analyze the sequencing data to help public health experts quickly access information about the spread and mutation of viruses. Apple is trying to find out if your iPhone or Apple Watch can detect COVID-19. The company is teaming up with medical researchers to see if its devices can predict early signs of respiratory illnesses like the flu or coronavirus. Information being collected for the study includes heart rate, blood oxygen, sleep patterns, and even hand washing. The 6-month study will use volunteers from the Seattle area. Europe is now the leader in COVID-19 vaccine production. That's according to European Commissioner for the Internal Market, Thierry Breton. During an interview Friday on French radio Europe 1, Breton said that the EU member states will have enough shots to fully vaccinate 70% of the adult population by mid-July. He added that now it's up to them to put things in motion. The U.S. reaches a significant milestone Sunday in getting the country vaccinated against the coronavirus. The CDC says half of all adults 18 and over have now received at least one COVID-19 vaccination shot. That's about 130 million people. The CDC also says about 84 million adults, almost 1/3, have now been fully vaccinated. New Hampshire, New Mexico, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Maine are the top 5 states. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Gorgeous looking Monday start over Television City there as the skies lighten up now that we are 9 minutes away from sunrise. A look at our day planner is going to lift us up into the low 70s. It's going to be absolutely delightful and right on par where we'd anticipate temperatures for an April 19th. April 20th, well, that's going to be a little bit of a different story. Tonight, cold front drops in on us. Tuesday morning brings us a rain-snow April mix, turns back into rain, and then temperatures plummet down for Wednesday morning. So we've got freeze watches all the way until 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and then cooler temperatures persist all the way into the weekend. Of course, all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Demonstrators gather in Nevada to bring awareness to recent deadly police encounters. Plus, an independent review of the Joplin Police Department gets low marks in a key area. We'll have more on the report. And a motorcycle wreck leaves a Claremore, Oklahoma man dead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Zach Dodge in for Tanya Bach. And Michael, I'm seeing the sun is starting to peek out a little bit. Once the sun does come out all the way, what's the weather going to look like today?
It's going to be a delightful Monday, Zach, and we need to dig any outdoor activity under our belts today because it's quite frankly going to be too cold and rainy and snowy tomorrow. Now, with that being said, we've pushed up to 41 degrees as we take a live look outside of Television City without a cloud cover even dotting the Skywatch storm tracker. 41 in both Joplin and Carthage, though Monette there as well. 36 in Parsons, Miami right now sits right above the freezing mark at 34. So while we get to enjoy southwesterly warmth and sunshine today, that is what is headed our way. Going to take a little southerly dip and then work southeast just in time for tomorrow morning. So, hey, low 71 today. Can't beat that. Now, as the cloud cover begins to develop overnight, we'll keep our eyes up to the northwest. And here it comes. Going to drop in on us just in time for the Tuesday morning ride. Get some light snow in there with some rain on the backside of it. Transitions back into rain, and our temperatures just absolutely plummet down. As far as what we're looking at freeze watch wise, it's all encompassing, and it lasts all the way until tomorrow morning at 9. 7-day forecast will have abnormally cool temperatures for the rest of the work week. At least we do get above freezing after Wednesday morning, albeit barely, but daily highs only in the 50 in what's shaping up to be a chilly, chilly week, minus today.
Right. You excited for the super cold, gross weather that's going to be coming?
No.
No.
I don't do cold well.
Yeah, me either. Honestly not.
I will have a smile on my face while I do weather. And in the back of my head, Mother Nature and I will be having a different conversation.
Definitely. But yeah, thanks, Michael. On Sunday, a group of people in Nevada gathered at Earp Park to protest recent lives lost after police encounters. The group wanted to bring attention to this community and says although these deaths did not occur in Missouri, they still hope to bring awareness to the local community and spark conversations here.
Even other protests that we've been to or gone to have pretty large turnouts, and I mean with us there's I mean, maybe 10 as people are kind of coming and going. But I still think this has such a great impact. One person with a sign is going to attract attention, but when there's a small handful of us, I think it really shows that there is a community here.
Many of the people at the event were in high school or young adults and emphasized the importance of youth involvement to create community change. People from across the area came to Joplin to rally and bring awareness to the death of Dante Wright. Wright was a 20-year-old from Minnesota who was fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with 4 state residents on the impact his death has on the local community and how the community can have more transparency with its own police.
Protests have emerged across the country to honor Dante Wright, who was fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop on April 11th. In Joplin, a rally was held at 7th and Rangeline. Organizers say it was made to highlight injustices between police and communities of color. The rally was also to bring awareness to Joplin.
We want Joplin to pay attention to what's happening nationally and focus on what can we do locally to make our law enforcement better.
An organizer of the event, Dola Flake, says the event was intended to educate and bring awareness, to ensure transparency between Joplin Police and its residents.
We are able to educate our community, bring awareness to the issues that are happening. We are able to begin holding our local law enforcement accountable, but letting them know that we support good policing, and we just want to make sure that that's what we have in our community.
She said bringing awareness to this issue can help Joplin grow as a community.
There are many reasons that we should care about what we're doing out here today with this rally. As a community, diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts will grow our community. It will help us to thrive, recruit, and retain diverse talent, which is the goal of both the chamber and other organizations in our community.
Sarah Fawcett, a Pittsburgh resident, came out to Joplin to show that even though Dante Wright wasn't from here, his death still has an impact on the community.
I think it's important to show that even though he wasn't from here, that it impacted us as well. I think any time that a life is lost, especially like that unnecessarily, it impacts all of us. Even though it is far away, we are all here. It is still an American issue.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Before taking to 7th and Rangeline, organizers and participants took a moment of silence to remember Wright. At the Joplin for Justice rally Saturday night came the announcement that the organization 8 Can't Wait conducted an external review of the current policies and procedures of the Joplin Police Department. According to its website, 8 Can't Wait is a campaign to bring immediate change to police departments. The website highlights use of force numbers and policies across the country. Joplin wasn't on the website. However, Flake says the report from 8 Can't Wait will be available on the Joplin for Justice Facebook page. According to Flake, the report showed Joplin's policy score was a 12.5 out of a possible 110. Flake says part of the reason for the low score is policies that are out of date. We reached out to the Joplin Police Department about this report. We got this statement in response saying, quote, administration officials with JPD have met with Joplin for Justice members in the past in response to a petition, but to date have not been apprised of a study for findings by their organization. One man is dead following a crash in Rogers County around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say 53-year-old David Horton of Claremore was riding his motorcycle on Oklahoma 66 just north of Claremore when he lost control and crashed. Horton was pronounced dead on the scene. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, what officials are calling an epidemic of gun violence.
The country's top medical doctor is calling gun violence a national health emergency. I'm Laura Podesta. This announcement comes after more mass shootings over the weekend.
Plus, for something to talk about, we're asking, do you buy vehicles used or new, and how often do you trade in? We'll let you weigh in. But first, it's 6:37.
Great looking Monday with sunshine and temperatures into the low 70s. Enjoy this one because the cold front arrives tomorrow morning, brings us a rain-snow mix and drops us below freezing for Wednesday morning. We'll be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, more devastating mass shootings over the weekend. Just days after last week's shooting at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis left 8 victims dead. CBS News' Laura Podesta reports on what officials are calling an epidemic of gun violence.
I can confirm that there are 3 people that have died from this shooting.
The surge in gun violence across the country continued this weekend with a handful of violent incidents. In Wisconsin, a shooting at a bar in Kenosha County.
It sounds like one person got removed from the establishment and possibly came back a short time later.
Also over the weekend in Austin, Texas.
I guess it's our neighborhood, so that's really scary.
3 people were killed in an apartment complex. Authorities called this an isolated domestic incident. The suspect this morning is still on the run. And overnight, a drive-by shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana sent 5 victims to the hospital.
Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
The chief medical officer to President Biden agrees.
It's just been horrifying what's happened. How can you say that's not a public health issue?
Last month, the House passed 2 bills enhancing background checks.
The bills that passed the House are bills that are supported by the majority of the country, including Republicans, including gun owners. So there is no reason not to pass the legislation.
Those bills, though, which make background checks mandatory for all gun sales and transfers, are stalled in the Senate and face an uncertain future. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
In the past month alone, there have been at least 54 mass shootings across the country. Mass shootings defined as incidents where 4 or more people were shot. The prosecution and defense are set to deliver closing arguments today in the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis. Then jurors will decide if Chauvin is guilty of murder for the death of George Floyd last May. During 3 weeks of testimony, the jury heard from 45 witnesses. That's a look at today's top national stories. Now let's check back with Michael for something to talk about.
Thank you, Zach. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Instapoll, across the country, prices of used cars have been shooting up. Our question to you is, do you buy vehicles used or new, and how often do you trade them in? Roy D. Mercer, how big boy are you? Said, never had a brand new vehicle. Still driving my first vehicle. Very nice, Roy. Michelle Pacini with a good morning, KOM and Mama. Good morning, Michelle. The Pacini household bought a new Prius and hates it. Only drive it when the hubby makes me. We will always stand by old trucks, something you can work on, one we named the old reliable train wreck. Had to drive the Prius to Parsons one morning. It was dark, windy, rainy, and panicked. Be careful out there, Michelle. Robin Rucker, only buy a, quote, new one when I want to. And John Trebian says, I don't buy one until I need one, then I buy one that gives me the best bang for my buck. Good morning, KOM. Good morning, America. Say good morning, John. Dave Pitts Sr., closest to new was a low-mileage 82 Chevy Citation in 83. Favorite old cars, a 1950 Deluxe Chevy, a 60 Impala, pictured with my backup bicycle. Love it. There's Dave, hard at work. At this time, the Impala couldn't get off my lawn. They're exempt, Dave. They're good to go when they're up there. Right now, 73% of you say you do prefer to buy those vehicles used. You can make your voice heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero. Morris Allen served in the United States Air Force in Korea. His hometown, Mound City, Kansas. We're proud to salute Morris Allen, a 4-state hero.
The birthday list begins in Girard, where B-Square Bronson Burks is celebrating the big number 5. Bronson, a very happy birthday to you. Have a wonderful day, kiddo.
And Keegan Ellison is turning 11. He lives in Carl Junction and apparently plays for the Bulldogs. Playing some football. Happy birthday, Keegan.
Bulldog, Bulldog. Mayo Jotta's turning 14, a little Raider pride. Happy birthday to you, Miss Maddie in front.
And Abby West is turning 16 today. She's in Webb City. Happy birthday, Abby.
A sweet 16 going out to Rebecca Green. I love it when they do the balloons. A happy sweet 16, Rebecca, from both mom and dad. She's in Columbus.
And Yvette Bruce is turning, we've got twins.
Ooh, not
Nice.
only twins, two
Yeah,
of my favorite
they're turning
twins.
54 today. That's a really good number.
And if Yvette's 54, that means Yvonne is 54.
Yep.
Hey,
Happy birthday.
you know we love you too. A very happy birthday to Yvette and Yvonne. I got Facebook them. Tell them happy birthday. In La Harpe, Miss Beth Foster is celebrating her 80th birthday. What a marvelous picture right there. Happy birthday to you, Miss Foster in La Harpe.
And Pauline Flores is also turning 80. Another great picture there. She's in Fredonia, and happy birthday from her friends and family.
Happy birthday, Miss Flores. Now, they didn't give me an age on this one in Quapaw. I'm simply told that it's a milestone birthday. So to Gail McDonald, a very happy birthday. I'm not sure what the milestone is, but please have a marvelous, marvelous Monday.
And Cheyenne Blue Benintendi, I'm so sorry if I butchered your last name. I'm sure I did.
You got it,
but happy
Benintendi.
birthday.
You nailed it, man.
Happy birthday from Blue, who loves you very much.
A good picture right there, Miss Cheyenne. Phil Shanholzer, a happy birthday to you. Oh, I think somebody probably gets spoiled by Grandpa right there. Happy birthday, Sir Phil.
And happy birthday to Jim Jarvis and Gerard.
Yeah, nice catch.
Going fishing, catching some good fish. That's a good picture too. We got some good ones this morning.
Happy birthday, Jim. Donnie Hiddle, a happy birthday in Miami. Teresa Wren, a happy birthday to you, Miss Teresa. She's in Pittsburgh. And Jason Hardy, celebrating his 17th birthday. And Jason, these happy birthday wishes from your parents and grandparents. Jackson, happy birthday from Mom, Dad, and Grandma, Grandpa. And Jackson is celebrating in Columbus.
Matthew Bacon, happy birthday to you in Pittsburgh. And Ashley Ohm is turning 42. She's from McCune, so happy birthday to you as well. And then Brad and Lisa Johnson, some more twins, are turning 12. Oh, wow. This is their 12th anniversary. I apologize. I should read better.
The dude won a Super Bowl, right? Oh, it's not that Brad Johnson? Oh, my bad. Congratulations, Brad and
Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. I will celebrate no matter what it is. Now, here's Zach Dodge with a very important birthday announcement.
You can be part of our KOAM birthday club by going to our website and signing up. You can get special deals from local businesses as well. So go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM birthday club today.
Let's roll it one more time. Live look outside of Television City. We've been able to bump up into the 40s right now. Clean Skywatch Storm Tracker, just going to be an absolutely perfect morning, especially once the sun kicks in and can get us all into the 40s. We've got a smattering of them right now. We range anywhere from mid-30s to low 40s. We're keeping our eyes up to the northwest because that's where we've got a massive cold front that is going to be upon us tomorrow morning. So on this April 19th, take advantage of the sunshine and the nice mild temperatures. We'll be in the low 70s here later on this afternoon. Put Future Track into motion and watch the top left-hand portion of your screen. First comes the cloud cover, then comes, the rain-snow mix. That's right. We're going to roll a little April 20th rain-snow mix, and our temperatures are going to plummet on the backside of it especially. We'll go rain, then snow, and then back to rain for tomorrow. It's just going to be a little bit nasty. And then Wednesday morning actually is going to be our coldest time of the week. That's why we've got those freeze watches, as we're going to be in the 20s Wednesday morning. Daily highs, a far cry from what we normally expect in the latter portion of April, as we're only going to be in the 50s all the way into the weekend. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Let's roll a couple more comments here from the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Rex Mill prefers his cars used because I can't afford a new car and doing everything I can to keep it running. On my 6th vehicle, in 21 years. Kenny Kimmel said, bought a brand new Datsun B210 in '78 when I was in the Navy. Since then, I bought nothing but used vehicles, much better value, unless they're on your lawn. Bob Linda Koch, get this, owned over 50 plus brand new cars over the years. Used to be fun to go on the car lots and look around. Now, as soon as you drive onto the car lots, someone comes running out to you or jogs alongside your car while you are looking, thus creating a driving hazard. And I want to come back to Colleen McGuire. She says gently used. How much does a new car depreciate the second you drive it off of a lot? And why was there a huge jump in buying cars during the pandemic? Very fair question, Colleen. So I looked up here, and what we've got is that the pandemic strained car manufacturers when it comes to new cars, created a shortage. That in turn put the emphasis on used vehicles. So then dealers hiked up those prices with supply and demand. And last line there, economists say, believe the trend is going to stick around. Thanks for all the engagement this morning. Final look at the Insta poll. Right now, we've got 70% of you say that you prefer it used. Zach?
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Dr. Anthony Fauci is indicating the government is likely to resume use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine this week. The Center for Disease Control advisors plan to meet Friday to discuss the pause in the J&J shot after several women suffered rare blood clotting, with one dying. The CDC now says half of all American adults have received at least one COVID vaccine dose. The prosecution and defense are close to delivering closing remarks today in the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis. Then jurors will decide if Chauvin is guilty of murder for the death of George Floyd last May. During 3 weeks of testimony, the jury heard from 45 witnesses. On Sunday, a group of people in Nevada gathered at Earp Park to protest recent lives lost after police encounters. The group wanted to bring attention to this issue to the local community and says although these deaths did not occur in Missouri, they still hope to bring awareness and spark conversations here. And Saturday evening, Joplin for Justice hosted a rally at 7th and Rangeline to bring awareness to the death of Dante Wright. Wright was the 20-year-old man who was fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop in a Minneapolis suburb. Joplin for Justice says this local protest was meant to bring awareness to racial injustices in the country and show how Joplin can make changes locally. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Into the low 70s later on this afternoon. Great looking Monday, and then Tuesday brings the cold front. Our ground's pretty warm right now, so that's why we're not going to see a lot of accumulation from the rain-snow mix that we have. But as it rolls through, remember, we've got freeze watches lasting until 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, where we will wake up on Wednesday after the front and have temperatures down into the 20s.
Coming up today at noon, we'll hear more about the Derek Chauvin trial that is continuing today.
And we'll continue tracking that cold front as well, Zach, as it pushes toward us throughout the northwestern section of the United States. So take advantage of what's going to be a gorgeous Monday afternoon. Have a great, safe day. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.